publicly and on record.
Thank you. But you know, again, I think the approach we took from the beginning, sat down, was
Michelle? Yes. Jeffrey? Yes. Leroy? Oh, it's unanimous.
Is the review and deliberation regarding the complaints. And there are 14 complaints, separate complaints. And the process that we go through is that we go through executive session, and the person that's making the complaint individually comes before the commission. We get that person's, we've already read the complaint, we would ask questions of the complaint, so we won't go through the whole process of reviewing and going through each point of the complaint because the commissioners have already read it. Once that is done, then that person is excused, and if the officer is here that you made a complaint against, we'll give the opportunity for that officer to come before the commission and to do the same thing of our asking questions. If the officer submitted written information, then we would deliberate and discuss that. Once that is done, then we would then have some deliberation. And whatever decision we made will be communicated to you via a written letter within 30 days. So we're going to do it individually. So what we'll mean then is that when we take a complaint, then everyone is going to be excused from the room, and then we'll just go individually through that. Question? You had a question?
I have it. When do I hand that? I brought 10 copies.
We'll just, once you just give it to her. Right? If there's any, if you look at the agenda, if someone has a statement from the public on the agenda item, that will come after not only all the complaints that are deliberated in executive session, but also a status report of internal and referral complaints. So I'm not really sure what time that is going to be, because what we want to do is go through all these complaints. Now, the exception in what I just said is that we have a complaint that wants to be reviewed at open session, so we will take that complaint first, and that's yours, Mr. Vicente. But we're not right now. So everybody understand that? So depending on where you are on this list of complaints, it could be a short wait, it could be a long wait. What we do is we limit the discussion with the complainant to 5 minutes. And the reason why we do that is we've already reviewed your written complaint. So we understand what the complaint is, or we think we understand it, but if we don't, we want to have the opportunity to ask you questions on it. So we're not going to go through A to Z what you've written down. So don't get upset if you feel that you need to start from scratch, but we're not at scratch. We've already passed that. And that's the reason why we're there. So we want to go through the process till we can get to everyone. So just be cognizant of that. All right? Okay? Anybody any questions? All right. Now we do need a motion to go to executive session. So somebody make a motion, please.
Motion to go to executive session.
You need to read it.
Is there a motion? A motion to consider disciplinary
and charges against officers or employees of Hawaii Courtesy Department to consider sensitive matters relating to public safety and to consult with Corporation Counsel on questions and issues pertaining to the Commission's powers, duties, privileges, immunities, and liabilities pursuant to the Hawaii Revised Statutes 92-5A 246 and the Hawaii County Charter 13-20B.
Motion, and we have a second. Any discussion? Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. Okay. So can we just hold that motion and let's deal with Mr. Vicente? Excuse me. Will you please come up, Mr. Vicente? For those of you, it is HUC complaint. Any questions?
Number 1241.
1241.
Where's the timer? 5 minutes.
Yes. Mr. Vicente, I'll ask the first question. Your complaint is that you denied a permit, but then, on the other hand, you're saying that the laws don't apply. I don't quite understand.
The permit to acquire what they call firearms here, which is actually the Hawaiian Kingdom, is based on Title 10. Title 10, unless you understand the U.S. Constitution, is Congress' power over the state militia, which is Article 1, Section 8, Clause 16. Congress is to organize, arm, and discipline the state militia. And that's for the 13 United States only. They only got 13. The jurisdiction here is the Hawaiian Kingdom. The Hawaiian Kingdom has no gun control at all. That's how the foreigners armed themselves and forced King Kalakaua at gunpoint to sign the Bayonet Constitution of 1887. Then with the removal of and the Reciprocity Treaty came that followed, that stationed the U.S. Navy here illegally at Pearl Harbor. And that's where the United States had placed the Hawaiian Kingdom under the Monroe Doctrine, which is the Northwest Ordinance of 1787, which has no force and effect of law. And it cannot be run concurrently with the U.S. Constitution because that's a colonial policy that was written during the Articles of Confederation by the Three Stooges, Thomas Jefferson, Monroe, and Dane, which is a policy that should not have been applied to this kingdom, which it did. And with the removal of the Queen, after she signed the lottery bill into law, here again, they pulled the gun on the Queen. First the King, the Queen, and they removed her by force. That's why she filed a protest of January 17 against U.S. Minister Stevens. That is yet to go to the U.S. Supreme Court under Article 3, Section 2, Clause 2, original but limited jurisdiction. And gun control came about after by the Committee of Public Safety, which is 13 foreigners from 3 different countries, 9 from the United States, 2 from Germany, and 2 from British subjects. They imposed gun control under the Penal Code, which remained until 1959. After 1959, it was transferred to Title 10, which does not apply here in the kingdom. And it's a state militia. And only Congress can organize, arm, and discipline that, the militia, leaving the officers to be appointed by the state. But here again, we're in the Hawaiian Kingdom. Hawaiian Kingdom has no gun control. And that's why it shouldn't be applied. A lot of the permits it was issued under false pretense to people that doesn't even qualify to be here. At this point in time, only Native Hawaiians belong here in the Hawaiian Kingdom. Non-Native Hawaiians are actually illegal aliens here without a valid treaty and cannot arm themselves or take any position, whether it be the governor who is an illegal alien or the chief of police or anyone who's not Native Hawaiian. And I didn't create the history, but I do research and I find the history to be very damning to all what's going on today. And
I'd like to give an opportunity to ask him questions. We do have
may I continue?
Sure. Yeah, just realize that we do have
The police under the U.S. Constitution is actually illegal. If you look at the history of the police force, there was no police when they wrote the Constitution. New York created the first police in 1840, Constitution almost 50 years old. You got to remember on the U.S. Constitution, they argued in the Federalist Papers that military powers belong to the U.S. Congress under Article 1, Section 8. The state has no military powers at all, to include having a police force. There's 4 civic duties. You have the night watchman, the posse, the grand jury, and the jury duty, which is everybody performs. So as a posse, you must be armed at all times because when the sheriff gets a court order or a warrant to arrest somebody, you got to be ready. You cannot refuse that service. It's a civic duty you have to perform. So here we can see why gun control is here in Hawaii. is to keep the monarchy oppressed or non-existent. That's the only purpose, it's a political oppression. And that has to end. You hear so much about gun control because of the shooting. Well, the United States Constitution has gun control over the federal government and the state, but yet it's taken its military to foreign countries under the Monroe Doctrine and commit acts of murder on young children. Brock said he'll cry only for American children. What about the rest that he has killed in foreign countries? And that's the thing that was trying to prevent a standing army, which is very dangerous. So that's why all these facts and the history and the laws has to be looked into. And the thing is, Hawaii is an independent nation, and we do our own thing here. We shouldn't be influenced by the United States or any other country. Another thing I want to point out to you is Japan was, they imposed gun control over Japan when MacArthur wrote the unconditional surrender on the battleship, signed it, and he wrote the Constitution, which prevented them from owning guns. He even took away the samurai sword, which is illegal.
I have a question. So, you're here because you want to give us that information? Because if you're asking for a permit, but that's why I'm a little confused, okay? You said you were denied a permit, but on the other hand, you're saying that we as the police department or the police, we don't have the right to be asking for permits, so I'm a little confused.
Well, you look at two different countries that are first. You got the United States, 13 states, and then the Hawaiian Kingdom.
My question has specific to do with your complaint.
Yeah, I'm trying to explain that. We shouldn't have a permit system because Hawaiian Kingdom has no gun control. The gun control came under Monroe Doctrine,
So you should be able to carry arms without a permit?
and go out and buy them without a permit. That's the right in the kingdom.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for the clarity.
That's it.
Thank you.
That's your strength. Now,
Motion is that.
yes, the motion's back on the table. We have a motion, and we have a second. Okay, we're going to executive session. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thank you. So we are now going to executive session, so we need to excuse all of you. And then when your complaint comes up, then we will call.
Can I do an open session? I'd like to request open session because it's concerning the medical marijuana. And we have over 5,000 patients on the island that can actually affect. So if that's possible.
And I'll take mine over too.
And we're doing
I
this for the local.
I like video documentation.
Yeah, we're doing this for local TV shows.
We'll do it in order.
Okay, we'll wait. As the media, we would love to be involved to carry the
And I
story
would
through.
appreciate you involved in such with my case too.
There you go.
Thank you, my friends, for my amendments.
Okay,
Excuse all of you. We are now in executive.
thank you. Ready? I don't see no red light. Oh, I don't see no red light. All right, you know what day it is and you do know what time it is, and we've been kicked out. Here we are all together as we sing our song joyfully. Here we are all together as I knew we would always be. All right, you know this face? Mr. Ruggles is here. We're at the police commission. It is 12:21. 12, and I'll tell you something, I know and I realize that this is a very important process we're getting ready to experience.
We're sticking up for privacy today, fellow county citizens, and I researched it because what goes on is currently they're coming and doing compliance checks, and they do it without a search warrant. They don't follow any procedure, whether it's NED, DEA, or local, and we got all that here. And I'd like to show you some pictures. Here's my daughter. Here's my daughter doing yoga, and as you can see, she's unrobed. And look at that chopper checking her out. And what I'm showing you is that they're invading our privacy, and they do this on a weekly basis, and they do it without warrant, without due process. And what the counties, I mean the state Supreme Court says about it is this: privacy, the citizens' privacy is so precious that it should not be entrusted into the hands of law enforcement. And that's exactly what's going on right now. They're letting law enforcement decide whose privacy they invade and whose they don't. And that goes totally against due process and everything democracy and our judicial system stands for. And so that's what we're doing today, everybody out there in TV land. We're here trying to get cops to stop picking on medical marijuana. Because first off, not only is it wrong, but they're picking on people with a disability, and they're doing it, they're invading our privacy, and they're doing it without due process or follow any rule or regulation. And in fact, even the DEA, who are the feds and supposedly have the most power, they're going to invade your privacy. They got to get written permission with 2 signatures. And these guys are just coming up, intimidating people through force. They're using intimidation, coercion. And then they took my stuff, they took all my medical marijuana, and they didn't leave me no receipt or nothing. They just took it. Later on, we found out there was no police report, no nothing made. And so I'm down here sticking up for you people. If you look over there, they're a pretty scary looking crew, but I'm standing up to these people because there's 5,000 of you guys out there in the county of Hawaii I'm sticking up for. I don't want you guys to have to go through what I go through on a weekly basis. So we're down here fighting, and I'm hoping you guys appreciate it. And we're going to try to make it better for all 5,000 medical marijuanists on the Big Island, and then later we're going to try to fix it for everybody in the state as well. So stay tuned, everybody. It should be exciting.
Yes, and that is if they'll let us into the executive session, which I don't see any problem with. For me, this whole police commission is a little bit, why are they so different than anybody else? It is hard for me to think that these citizens who are related to policemen, I mean, I, as a legislative aide, watch most of these people get appointed. We know that they don't know what they're doing because Lincoln, God bless you, Lincoln, has to expedite these meetings because these people don't know parliamentary procedure. But that's not important either. But what is important is what we as the public think about the agenda. It is almost impossible for me to believe that we as a public have to sit here until they do all their deliberation, after they get all of their decisions, after they write all of their notes, after they consult Lincoln and Corporation Counsel, then we will be allowed to speak. Nowhere in government is this the way it is. So we're trying to figure out why it is so complicated, why it has to be so different when everybody here already knows what they're talking about in there.
That's why we're here. They need us.
So what you know here is happening is what's called mental masturbation, because the people inside are not ready to be commissioners. So they're not ready to be shown that they don't know what they're talking about, that they're going to ask stupid questions, that they're going to feel and be told what to think.
That they're the watchdog organization that doesn't bark or bite.
Oh my God, there's
Don't
cousins
never
in there
tell
of
us anything.
policemen,
We're supposed to be looking out for
daughters
us.
of policemen, and
Why
all
feed a dog that don't bark or bite, especially if it's a watchdog?
Well, you see, they don't even give them a microphone. Wait,
For good reason.
wait, they don't give them a mic. They have no amplification. So how we as the public sitting there watching them deliberate, how the heck are we supposed to know? Fix these things, because this is what open and transparency is all about.
Plus, you know, it's apparent that they need tutoring because these are actually the people that set the policy. They
can
set the police
override.
budget.
They can
and set
override the police
policy.
chief. That's how
And
much power they have. They can say, no police chief
They
is
need
going to
some
be this way.
education. They need somebody.
No, they
requirements.
get lots of education.
Well, they need requirements to even be one, I would think.
No, they got, like you said, you saw the other meeting. Congratulations, 89.9%. That means you guys really studied and you excelled and you have your accreditation compared to what? Compared to the rest of the country? Well then, where does that put Hawaii?
The mission statement is aloha and cooperation with citizens. Why not include us?
Yeah.
And why not work for us? Why don't they stick up for us?
Yeah.
When any DEA comes and says, I want to look at Mike's place without a warrant.
Did you call
they should say, hey, do you got any probable cause?
Yeah, or did you
That's
call
what they
him?
say.
Call him on the phone and ask him how many
You don't
plants
say,
he's got.
okay, whatever you want.
Yeah. So
They're
here
not
we
their
are.
slaves. They work for us. We pay them. And so they should stick up for us.
So you think we're ranting and raving, but we're winning. On many, many levels, we are winning because of what we're getting ready to know. And that is, I want everybody to go to their little search engines and I want you to type in a name. The name is Dr. Jolly West. Dr. Jolyn West of UCLA. Go to 1969 and see what he says about and told Nixon about prohibition and how you can control a society. It's right there. They've been practicing on us. They've been doing mind control. They've been doing violence studies. Now it's time to get it out of our island.
And
You
we
don't
are the
understand.
pain
We're not the
management club.
enemy. It's so easy to beat up on us.
We want all 5,000 medical marijuanas on the Big Island to join us, because this is like Custer's last stand.
It is.
We all join up like Indians.
Yeah.
We can defeat Custer.
We'll
Those
give you
guys
an
are
invitation.
Custer.
You can get an invitation
You guys,
once a year to come and check him out.
painmanagementclub.com. Join us, guys. and
Would you
get
like
down
him to
here.
come once a year just to say, hi, Mike,
Yeah,
how you doing?
absolutely.
Good job.
More than that.
Oh, all those
And we're
people
gonna do
with the
Freedom
cancer.
Fest. You know, the next petition, I want to.
Right now, we're gonna take the closed session first. So I need to know who wants closed, and after all of the closed session is done, then we'll go into open session. So Ronald Allison, closed or open?
Open, ma'am.
Okay,
With-
open.
I would also invite the media if they would
Okay,
choose to
yeah,
be
this
there
one,
for
okay.
such.
Tim, closed or open?
Open.
Open,
I'd like to be open.
again, open.
I think we all want open.
I think everybody out here want open. Who doesn't want open?
Yeah, that's.
That's what our beautiful Constitution 4 is.
Ronald, Frank Locke,
All right, we get open.
It's open.
Isn't it great?
It's going to be named
Now
open.
everybody can see what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's what we want. The light of truth. Because we live in the best place on
Here
earth,
comes the
guys.
chair. Here comes the chair. 14 seconds now. Here comes the chair.
We're afraid of tomorrow.
Yeah, I told him inside, I said, you better make sure he's sweet for the tape recorder.
All right, sweetheart.
All right. I want to know why you're here today. Tell everybody who you are and why you're here.
My name is Timothy Snedeker. I'm here today because on October 16th, I went to my property in Ainaloa, attempted to tow a parts van there. The person on my property without permission refused to let me put the van there. He sprayed me with brake cleaner in my eyes. Officers came. I showed them the documents from my property. He claimed to be a tenant. With no documents, they allowed him to stay there, served me with a 24-hour eviction notice. I had to leave for 24 hours. Within that time, the alleged tenant made a TRO on me. Till today, I'm not allowed to go to my property. The person is an ICE dealer, an ICE user. They're selling all my property. The officer refused to make an assault report. He hung up the phone on me. I kept pushing for it. Finally, in November, I found out the report he did make was an harassment report. How do you justify being sprayed with brake cleaner in your eyes as harassment? That's assault. When the officer was told from the captain to reclassify the case, the officer, same officer, called me up, threatening me on the phone. Told me if I make him classify the case, reclassify the case, he's going to put an APB on my butt. As soon as he gets off the phone, he held true to his threat. I had an APB issued on me that afternoon. No further action on the suspect that did the assault. Nothing. Okay, so I reported it. Now, I finally got the police report in November. He falsified the police report. The beginning of the police report, he stated that the victim stated he was sprayed with an unknown chemical, causing minor irritation. Same report, same officer. After he was forced to reclassify the case, he said that he spoke to the sergeant and explained to the sergeant he doesn't know why the victim wants to reclassify the case. And the victim stated at the beginning that it made no contact with his body and he felt no pain. One of those statements is false. Two of them is false. He can figure out which one is false. I got the evidence, I got the police report. I'm not doing this for myself. I'm doing this for the people that cannot defend themselves out there.
All right. It's going to be a heck of a day. It's going to be a heck of a day. Open and transparent. Very clear. Some people are going to believe this is the end of the world, but it's the evening of the playing field. And it starts right here at one of the most important next to the Ethics Commission. This commission is probably one of the most serious vanguards between rogue police work and good police work. And the citizens as their last recourse to at least be heard and to at least have, you know, when you're standing on a line, you're standing on an ice cube in the middle of the ocean. That's what my father always used to say. And he used to give me a chance to think about what it was I wanted to tell him next. And he always used to remind me that the water is very deep and it is cold and there may be nobody there to pull you out. It's kind of like the way it is when you fall through court or what you do. When you get to this commission, you start lying, you start setting up a serious tort, you set up a serious criminal case. So I want everybody to notice that there are ways to let people know when someone is lying. And also, do not let an officer misremember. If an officer misremembers, that means there's something wrong with their brain because they're remembering incorrectly. So there's a lot of mental health work going on here. There's a reason why people are not doing their duty. It could be the drugs that they're taking, high blood pressure, I don't care. But we're going to find out today, and I'm so glad that you said that this was going to be open. But take a good look at this man's face because it's this kind of faith, this kind of face that is going to change the way people do their job. Remember, you're looking at a woman who took Fred Bloss on. You're looking at Bob Patrici. We took that councilman off. He is no longer councilman of the 4th District. We put the youngest. We let a child lead rather than to let someone like him lead. So I'm R.J. Hampton, so you don't have to be. And your name again?
Timothy Snedeker.
All right. And who's this over here?
It's my dad, Albert. He's here on his own case today.
Oh, my goodness. You got a case, too? Now, wait a minute. Who's the, turn off the camera.
And I'm all
There's 4 civic duties that the people of the country or town has to perform. One is the night watchman, the grand jury, I should say the posse, the grand jury, and the regular jury duty. And you have the, what was the other one you said now?
Oh, the jury duty is
The jury duty here in Hawaii was separated by race. One was the Native Hawaiians had only Hawaiian jurors, and the foreigners had foreign jurors because of the situation here in Hawaii under the kingdom.
The foreigners didn't want the Native Hawaiians sitting on there.
They're being jurors, so you had them separated.
Well, since we're here killing time slowly, we're going to get an update from Jennifer about the access to the beach up there in Papakeo, right?
Papakeo.
Papakeo, thank you. I wear my gingham, we put it on our car, and everybody notices, oh yeah, you know, so there's a lot of solidarity for that. Let us know what's going on.
So we passed the resolution to buy the trail through eminent domain down to Papakeo Mills Beach. And so it's passed, it's good, just now we need to get it on the budget because Billy Kanoy is kind of resisting it. He's already resisting getting it on the budget. So we need people to call Billy and tell him that it's really important that we buy the trail to Papakeo. We already passed the resolution and we just need to get it on the budget. And he just needs to fund it. It's going to be cheap, it's reasonable, the people want it. There was more support for this than any other resolution there. At 4 public hearings, we had 250 people consistently showed up to each hearing. And so we just need to remind him about that.
Right, so you hear it. If you want it, we have to find the money. And how do you do that? Call Mr. Kanoy, Mayor Kanoy, and tell him this is important and we need to find the money. Call all of those councilmen, somebody step up to the plate and put it. And I really believe it has to be the person's district. I mean, it would be helpful if it was the individuals whose district it is in to make the move to put it in the budget. It goes into recreations or public works? Is it recreation or public
Probably recreations or parks.
Parks?
Parks.
Someone, come on, step up to the plate and find
But
some
yeah,
money.
that's Valerie Poindexter. She's the councilwoman for the district.
All right, Valerie.
What's that?
How does she feel about it?
Well, I'm meeting with her today, but as far as what she said in a recent Tribune Herald article, she supports the alternate route that Prickett is proposing. That's only because Prickett has been lobbying these guys non-stop. But Poindexter was actually out there sign waving with us at the first public hearing that Yagong held.
All right, so Valerie, The time of absolute certainty never comes. It is interrupted by things called decisions. I believe that's why you got elected. So we're looking for a positive decision and forward motion on beach access. And for all the other councilmen, take note. That may come down in our own districts too someday. All right. Future generation creating a sensation. All the hope is in the global.
People created government, not a government. You couldn't give the government.
Make you feel comfortable. Yeah. I don't, some people I actually so we are like, I guess I just want to bring part of I've always smiled and said thank you.
Objectify about it.
I'm just But sometimes it can make you feel uncomfortable, and then I'll say, you know what? Yeah. Excuse me.